G'day friends, this is Graeme Blaiklock welcoming you to Divine Stream Radio Podcast. Today we pause with Job chapter 32, where a new voice enters the scene, Elihu, not to shout down the dialogue, but to offer a different perspective in the dramatic conversation about suffering, wisdom, and the mystery of God. In the flow of Job's story, we see three friends speaking first, each with their own assumptions about cause and consequence. Then comes Elihu, younger in age but urgent in voice, saying in effect, "There is more to consider beyond the traditional explanations." He insists that listening, humility, and reverence for God's sovereignty belong at the centre of any search for truth. Let's listen for a moment to Elihu's tone and intention, even as the text later corrects or expands on his arguments. He speaks of a divine justice that is not merely human logic, and he calls for divine hearing, God's perspective that sees the heart beyond our reasoning. First, humility before God, recognizing that human wisdom is limited and that God's ways surpass our explanations. Second, the call to listen. True wisdom comes not from loud asserters, but from attentive listening to God and to one another's burdens. Third, the path forward in chaos. Even amid questions, there is a posture of trust and reverence that keeps us anchored to God's sovereignty. If you're carrying questions about pain, purpose, or God's timing, Elihu invites you to stay present with the tension, without rushing to final answers. Sit with the discomfort, ask honest questions, and remain open to God's broader script. As we wrap up this reflection, consider a single question you can bring before God today. What would it look like to listen more deeply to God, to your own heart, and to those who journey with you in doubt as well as in faith? Thanks for listening. I invite you to join the discussion. Visit our podcast super site at godstreamradio.com, where you'll find podcasts from leading Christian authors and many Christian musicians. Also, be sure to subscribe to the Divine Stream Radio newsletter, where you'll receive inspiring messages and have the chance to enter our weekly draw to win one of Dr. Michael Youssef's books. You can subscribe by clicking the link in this podcast or by visiting divinestreamradio.com directly. And don't forget, join us at the Job movie release at Coleroy United Cinema that has inspired readers and believers for 3,000 years. Our upcoming screening of the Book of Job at Coleroy United Theatre is on Wednesday, May 20th at 6 p.m. Job is one of the greatest biblical stories ever told, exploring faith, suffering, and perseverance. You can rent or buy the film from the podcast description below. Join us for this impactful event and experience the story that has challenged and inspired believers for generations.